What's up? It's Sunday night, and ANCHORPETE and Shari T are back for another live review of a Sunday night show. Man, reviewing Sunday night shows is so much fun, right, Shari?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a nice into the weekend.
Yeah, and we've had some success here. We've reviewed Mayor of Easttown, which was a big hit, and Lacey's Story, maybe not so much. But tonight we are talking about Yellowjackets, which just premiered on Showtime. And now, Shari, I'm a big fan of Showtime shows. I like Billions, and I liked the first couple of seasons of Dexter, right?
Mm-hmm. I watched The Affair on Showtime.
Right, and you like that a lot, right?
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. So tonight we're going to talk about this new show, which I'm going to steal a quote from a guy, North Hollywood Buzz. I don't know if that's a website or a Twitter handle or whatever, but they compared this show. They said it was Lord of the Flies meets Big Little Lies. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to come up with that.
Okay, well, I was already thinking Lord of the Flies from watching the first episode.
Yeah.
I don't know where Big Little Lies comes in.
Because there's like a cover-up, right? And there's a cover-up in Big Little Lies. I mean, I guess at the end of Big Little Lies, there's a cover-up.
Yeah.
Maybe Big Little Lies season 2.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, there's all these women come together, these female characters.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I think that the show kind of just hoodwinked us right off the bat. I think that they made us think that this one character was going to be Christina Ricci. Right? And because she looked right at, like, there's, you know, okay, so just so you guys know, I'm sure you watched the show, but in case you didn't, there are 4 main characters, and we see them as teenagers and we see them as adults. And there is one girl in the past in 1996 that looks just like Christina Ricci. And we're like, oh, okay, that's her as a young self.
Similar. She has very big eyes, like Christina Ricci.
Yeah. But then it turns out it's a totally different character.
Right. It's not her.
Yeah. So,
and that's kind of the reveal at the end.
Yeah. So this show is very similar to Lost, too, in the regard that, like, it kind of shows you a pre-crash situation and then, like, present-day situation. I think that after this episode, it's just going to be them dealing with surviving after the crash.
Right. There's, like, some setup, some groundwork, so we kind of understand where these girls are in in their present-day high school lives, what they're like. And then we get to see how those personalities come into play when they're stranded on. Where are they stranded? We don't know yet.
I think it said the Colorado Rockies. The pilot said something when they were flying. Yeah,
it's snowy.
Yeah. And so when you see they like coming up on this season, it looks like they're there for 19 months.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Like it might not be snowy to begin with, but things also don't look crazy bananas right away either. But we do see a little bit of that craziness like right away. Right?
Let me ask you, are you familiar with Lord of the Flies?
Absolutely. I read the book when I was in, I think, middle school.
Yeah, I think I was in 8th grade. But it's not crazy bananas at the beginning either. I mean, it takes time for people to become uncivilized.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I'm
not very long though
excited about with this show is that unlike Lord of the Flies, any kind of adaptations, it's not based on any pre-existing thing, I don't think. It's this original show that's made by Ashley Lyle and Bart Nickerson. And I'd be very curious as to like what was the inspiration for them. If you look at their previous works, they worked on Narcos. They were like executive producers on Narcos, writers on Narcos. There's like 2 different versions of Narcos. And then, do you remember when we would watch like Better Call Saul, and there would be this like weird show that would have like I can't remember that guy, but whatever. Like it was called like Dispatches from Elsewhere. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What the hell is going on with that weird show?
Yeah, with Kurt Russell's son.
Yeah.
We see the preview.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they worked on that show too.
Okay.
And so it's just like real interesting that like, you know, do you think that maybe they were thinking, hey, let's do Lord of the Flies, but we're going to make it all girls instead of boys?
Maybe. I mean, that seems like what this is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of wondering if this show gave us too much already in the first episode. I mean, to show already that there's cannibalism, to show girls already like wearing masks, and it looks like they killed a fellow girl, right?
Yeah.
That's so much already. I feel like I know what's going to happen almost or something.
Yeah.
I hope I don't. I hope they surprise me, but it feels like that information should come later.
I agree. I was kind of worried that we had seen too much right away.
Yeah.
But I feel like everything is just going to be an elaboration upon what we already know. I think that in the modern day, there's going to be this sort of suspense of people potentially trying to uncover their secret, and then they're going to cut back to the past, and they're going to slowly show them, like, what
do they have to hide? Like, what did they do?
Right. I mean, we already seen some of the worst things that they've done, right?
I don't know if we've seen the worst things.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We don't know what happens. And it's in the name of survival, I think.
Yeah. I think that one mechanic they're going to have of the show is that they're going to have them all wearing those crazy masks and stuff. And that maybe you might have a reveal like they did with Christina Ricci's character, where they showed, oh, well, this is one of those killers. When they showed... so obviously spoilers for the show, right? We should probably mention that, right?
Yeah, hopefully you've watched the show if you're watching this.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk in depth about it.
Yeah, but they just kept cutting back to this like really grisly scene where a girl is like chased through the woods. She falls into a pit that has spikes in it.
A trap.
Yeah. They butcher her animal, like cook her and eat her in this sort of like ritualistic, it's a ritual, right?
Yeah.
And they eat her body in little pieces. And so there's 8 of them I saw. Did you count that amount?
Oh, no, I didn't pay attention. Okay.
There was 8 with all these masks on. And so we know.
And one of them serving the other girls.
Right.
And that was Christina Ricci,
Christina
right?
Ricci. So her character's name is Misty.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 characters that we're going to be following for the most part, 4 main characters. There's Shauna, who's played by Melanie Linsky, who we talked about on this show, right? Because we covered Heavenly Creatures.
Right. And that's her first movie.
Her first movie.
It's her and Kate Winslet's first movie, and she's had a pretty nice career.
Yeah, and it kind of blows my mind, too, right? Because that's her first movie, and that's about teenage girls murdering people, too.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of come full circle. Then Tawny Cypress plays...
and I just want to say Melanie Linsky is a really good actress.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you
I
can
think
tell.
she's under the radar, but she's in a lot of movies. If you look her up, she's in a ton of indie stuff. She's been in some HBO shows, and I always enjoy her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I thought she did a great job in this first episode.
Yeah.
Right? So Tawny Cypress plays Taisha, right? Or Taisha, right? And I recognized her right away. I was like, what is she from? And she's from that show Heroes that I used to watch, and she was also in House of Cards, too.
I don't remember her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it makes sense, right? Because her character is like political. I think she's trying to run for senator in New Jersey.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Then you got Juliette Lewis, who's playing Natalie. I think you were pretty fond of her teenage version, weren't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, she seems like a good person, right? So when the teenage girls are talking about freezing out one player who's not as good, she's like, no, that's a terrible thing to do, right? So already you kind of like get some more... We're getting moral background on these people because it's going to matter when there aren't any rules or any adults to like tell them what to do.
Yeah.
So she's already showed her morals, even though she does drugs and lives in a trailer. The Juliette Lewis character, teenage girl, has already showed that she cares about other people and their feelings.
Right.
Which seems basic, but not everybody's showing those qualities.
Yeah. I was actually kind of surprised at how like dedicated this soccer team was. They were like really passionate about soccer. And I guess they're taking it to a whole nother level. They're like the pride of their school in their little New Jersey town.
Yeah, I don't think that's that surprising. If you're going to nationals, or if you're that good, I think teams would be pretty gung-ho.
Well, one of the most fucked up parts is this Taisha. She like slides across the field at one point and crashes into this one girl on the team that they thought was sort of a weak link on their team, and she falls and her bone just pops right out of her leg.
Right, that's just gross. That was gross and kind of gratuitous, but I think it's to let us know a little bit about. Are you saying Taisha? I don't know. It was Taisha, maybe.
Taisha.
I think it's to let us know a little bit about her. She's cutthroat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very ruthless.
And it's going to matter.
Yeah.
When they are stranded.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not sure why that character would be going on to be a politician. It's not smart with a background like what she has, that people know things about her.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. She's definitely got some skeletons in her closet.
Yes.
Like literally, right? And then Christina Ricci plays this character Misty, and like I was saying, it's very misleading because that one girl looks just like her, and she's such a main character in that first episode. I bet she's going to die early on. That teenager, who's the captain of the team.
Right. What's her name?
I mean, I think so many knows.
Her name's Jackie. The character's name's Jackie, and we haven't seen an adult's counterpart to her, but she is like one of the main characters in this first episode. But I think she might end up being a catalyst for the Melanie Linsky character, who is named Shauna.
Shauna, yeah.
Right. So Shauna seems to be maybe in love with her best friend, Jackie.
Maybe. I don't. I think it's more like she's jealous, right?
It could be like a "I want what you have" kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's definitely either she's in love with her or she wants to be her.
Yeah.
Something like that. I didn't feel like exactly jealousy because I think she loves her friend.
Okay.
But she is sleeping with her boyfriend.
Yeah, that was. I thought that was well set up. There's this whole sequence where the team was starting to fall apart because a few of them didn't like what Taissa had done. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they started to squabble.
They were confronting each other at this like little kegger, and the captain came in and she basically made them all say nice things about each other. It was well done. It showed what a good leader she is. That's what made me think that she would die kind of early on, because if she's not there to keep the morale, they're gonna just
That's true.
Just there's one word I keep wanting to say, which is like essentially when you just kind of break down and you become evil, or you know what I'm saying? Whatever. We're live. So anyway, right after that scene, almost immediately after that scene where the captain shows how awesome she is and she says something so great to Shauna, then her boyfriend, the captain's boyfriend, drops her off and goes to drive Shauna home, and then we see that they've been getting it on secretly.
Yeah, and it's Shauna who's like instigating it, who's her best friend.
Right.
So, again, I'm looking at people's morals. Like, what is she? She doesn't feel bad about sleeping with her best friend's boyfriend.
Yeah.
So again, I think she's going to be a bad guy. I'm kind of starting to I can't help it. I am thinking Lord of the Flies, which they split into two groups.
Right.
One group who tries to remain civilized and treat each other decently, and then one group who's like, we're taking out the other group.
Yeah.
We're going to kill them, and we're going to have like kind of a monarchy type thing. So we already have like a group that we see is taking out a girl in the pit.
Yeah.
And they're eating her.
Yeah.
And one of them seems to be a queen, right?
Of some
leader,
kind. Yeah.
right? She has the antlers, and are you curious who that is?
Of course.
Who do you think that is?
If I had to guess, I would say that it's Taissa, right? Because if she's going into politics as like a leader, I would think, right?
Okay.
I mean, who knows though?
We'll see. We'll see.
The only one that's confirmed is Misty, and they did this little sequence before all the girls got on the plane, showing like their last scenes in their regular life before their life was dramatically changed.
Mm-hmm.
And for her, she was like watching a rat drown in a pool, right?
Never good. It's never good when you watch an animal, when the character watches an animal in pain and doesn't help or causes the pain. It's always something a little wrong up here, because a good person doesn't want to see pain and wants to help or stop it.
Yeah.
So just watching it, like, creepy.
Yeah, and they like segued, I think, from that. Later on, they showed her in a nursing home, and she went to go help a woman when she was an adult, and the woman was kind of being rude to her, and so she's like, "I'm not going to give any morphine." That's pretty messed up.
Very messed up. Yeah. So she's a nasty little side character there.
Yeah.
And it is Christina Ricci, who's like one of the headliners, so she's gonna matter. But in real life, in their teenage years, she seems to be a nobody. She's not a soccer team.
Right.
She's
like
kind of like a mascot or a helper or a wannabe.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
Right. I I was a soccer coach for like one season at a middle school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we had a little helper like that. He was a fun kid too, but
he probably would have eaten you if y'all like.
Oh man, that's it. Yeah, he would have got a lot of meat off of this too if we had taken a plane. Which the plane, by the way, was because one of the girls on the team, her dad is like essentially like Veronica's dad from Archie, right? And could afford to have a private plane for a soccer team, for a high school soccer team.
If I was that rich and my daughter did that well, I'd probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Lucky girls, but maybe not. You're right. The plane's gonna crash. So.
And did you notice that when they did that little montage, they showed her and she was like at her very nice house, and she was supposed to take meds?
Yes.
I wonder what the meds are for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. All these little they made sure to show you little details that are probably gonna matter.
Yeah. I have two more questions for you. Ready?
Okay.
Did you kind of have like a Stephen King kind of feel, like maybe an It kind of feel for this at all? Did you get any kind of vibe like that?
No.
I kind of had like the It kind of vibe, because it was like showing them as teenagers and then it would show them as adults, and Juliette Lewis like comes back to their hometown. It's like they've all moved on. They kind of keep the same in the past, and they come back.
Yeah.
It gave me the kind of the it vibe.
I can see that the grown up version and the young version.
And showing all their different backgrounds.
Is Juliette Lewis going to cause problems for the people who are trying to keep a secret?
I don't know.
She's been in rehab and she has a purpose now, is what she says.
Yeah, well, that was one kind of scene too, right? That alluded to what's going to happen on the show, because she has like a rifle with her, and it's in a storage facility, and she like basically took this nice car out and had a rifle in the back in the trunk.
Right.
So maybe she was planning on taking some of the other players out.
I just want to say her rehab was really fancy too, so she's rich, I think.
I guess, yeah.
But when she was young, she wasn't. She was in a trailer and seems kind of white trashy.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
what's happened? I'm kind of curious.
That's a really good point. Yeah. So I had another question for you, right? Remember I told you I had two?
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the sort of nostalgia and throwing in a lot of songs from the 90s?
I think it's an easy way to set the time period.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I think it's common. That's fine with me. I love that time period. So that's all right.
That's something that I talk about a lot on this channel and then also on the Lastercast too. There's been a lot of movies in the past year that I've seen where they're like, this takes place in the 90s, and we're just going to hit you with songs like constantly, or this place takes place in the 60s, so here's all these songs, right? Like Fear Street was like that, and Cruella was like that. Remember we reviewed Cruella?
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
It was for the 70s.
Probably the 70s, I always kept saying 60s. But I didn't think that this hit you over the head. But as someone who was 14 in 1996, I have to say, I kind of appreciated the references.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's a good time period for us, I think. So I liked it. I'm okay with it. Another thing that helps set the time is that there weren't cell phones.
Yeah.
Like it's not that long ago, really,
No.
that we didn't have cell phones the way they are now, and it's changed our world.
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine if there were cell phones and they crashed. Right?
Yeah.
You would have none of the problems that they're going to have for 19 months.
Yeah, if there was reception, absolutely.
If there was reception.
Yeah.
But you could even trace cell phones.
Yeah, well, they did have beepers. Remember they showed a beeper at one point? Right? They had a beeper, and they just played a ton of songs that I remember. They played Informer. They played some Smashing Pumpkins.
Smashing Pumpkins was the opening.
Right.
They showed Yellowjackets with the song. I wonder if that's going to be a regular opening or no.
What, that song? No, it'll probably... Like, did it have a logo or anything when it opened?
Yeah.
It did?
It did show, like, the word Yellowjackets in a certain way.
Oh, okay.
But it didn't really have much else. So it's probably going to be, like, Yellowjackets over some sort of background.
Some song, yes.
And the setting is New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
They wanted to set that up, right?
Maybe that's another reason why I feel nostalgic, because, Staten Island is practically New Jersey.
Yeah. Although I didn't feel New Jersey in this. I felt like this was any town in the USA.
True. Yeah, so I had a question for you guys in the audience, too. What is a pilgrim hat? Like, is that some kind of sexual term? Because, like, at one point, Juliette Lewis's character, Natalie, says to this really tall girl, I gotta remember the tall girl's name, but she's like, I like your pilgrim hat. And I don't know if she literally means, I like that you wore this pilgrim hat at some time, and maybe we'll see it, or if it's like some kind of sexual term.
Yeah, you were like, what do they mean, her vagina? And I was like, I thought she had a pilgrim hat, an actual pilgrim hat, so we don't know.
Yeah,
Help us out.
The only reason why I'm asking is because the girl kind of made this face like, what? When you say that about my pilgrim hat?
Right, and they left it open-ended as if we're supposed to know or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll find out, I don't know.
So you can tell us in the comments. You don't have to leave any links to anything, but you can tell us. Are you into the show? You gonna keep watching?
Yeah, at first I wasn't too sure because I thought there was a ton of exposition. Kind of, I thought, done not so great. You got into Brown. The reporter's telling her, you got into Brown, and you're a championship shocker. Like you had straight A's or something. The reporter saying to the Melanie Linsky character, who, by the way, as an adult, is kind of nasty.
Melanie Linsky. Oh, yeah. Oh, you want to say why? Oh, should I say why? I'm fine.
There's a few reasons, I think.
Yeah, there's one time where, first of all, this show had a lot of, like, sex and masturbating in it and stuff, right?
It's okay with me.
Okay, well, that's great. And now we have a bunch of viewers, too. That's cool. But anyway, good timing, guys. Yeah, like, she was, like, masturbating to a picture of her daughter's boyfriend, right?
There's that.
Yeah.
She also, like, is really rude to the reporter, right? very hostile.
I think she should have been rude to that reporter, though. That reporter said
Just ask the reporter to leave. Don't let her in your house. I
Okay,
mean, what did she say to her? She was like, "You fucking bitch," right in her face.
something.
I mean, I don't know
intense.
that I've ever had that interaction with a stranger because that's heavy, right? I don't
Yeah.
think I could even bring myself to do that. There was that, and then she killed a bunny rabbit who was eating her.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about the bunny.
Eating some of her plants in her garden with a shovel.
Yeah, she like decapitated with a shovel.
Right. So I mean, we kind of like again. I'm going back to the morals. Like her morals when she was a teenager weren't so great. She was sleeping with her best friend's boyfriend, and then we see her as an adult. She seems kind of normal. She's a mom. She's worried about what she's making for dinner, but she's got a dark side.
There's like a shit stain in some underwear too. I don't know if that's her underwear or her husband's underwear. Her husband is the boyfriend. It's the guy.
She married the boyfriend she was sleeping with.
Yeah, she married the guy that was cheating on his girlfriend. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of all I have to say for tonight.
Are you into the show?
Yeah. You know, like I said in the very beginning of this review, I like Showtime shows. I think that they have some really quality ones, and I think that they
Homeland Showtime.
Homeland is Showtime. That's another good example, right?
Yeah. And isn't House of Cards?
That's Netflix.
Yeah.
But I bet you there's one that I'm like a glaring example. I'm not. Penny Dreadful.
Yeah. No.
Showtime.
Yeah. I have no.
Yeah. So obviously Showtime knows what it's doing when it makes these shows, these premiere shows, and so I'm down. I want to see some more of it. I want to see like how they get to that point in the wilderness. That's kind of intriguing for me.
I agree.
And I want to see which of those side characters, because I like some of those side characters, like the girl, the redheaded girl. Her name was Van.
Yeah.
You know.
And there's the Holy One.
The Holy One.
It'll be kind of fun to see if the Holy One stays holy.
I hope that she does. Because at first, when she was talking about praying and all that kind of stuff, everyone's kind of rolling their eyes, you know. But then it's like, you know, she might end up being just like a good person.
Or she might totally turn when you know the situation's desperate. This is what I'm saying. What's interesting about a survival story is you kind of see what people are really made of when you get down to when you strip away all the trappings of civilization.
Right.
It's interesting. Do you think that there's going to be one kind of like clan versus another?
I hope so. I hope it like.
Or do you think one clan's just killing off the people who don't agree with them?
I hope that there's like a schism and there's like two sides. I do hope that is the case. You know?
Okay.
And that because I think that would add to the tension, right? If there's like survivors, you know, and if they're able to kind of reveal, like it would be kind of messed up if like some of them that we've gotten used to already, that we know are the main characters, like if some of them were good and against them and some of them were these evil ones.
That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen.
Yeah.
Some go good and some go bad. And that's why the moral thing matters. That's why they're showing these little details about them when they were teenagers already.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah, because you could get a lot out of that, right? Like you could get a lot out of them having to deal with this cover-up if they weren't all on the same page. Like if they were all on the same page and they were all cannibal killers, then it kind of makes sense that they're like the way they are as adults. I don't know.
You just have to hope that there are people. I mean, say this is a microcosm of the world, right? You have to hope that 25 people go down in a plane, that some of them wouldn't do that. Right? So, like, that's what I'm assuming the show's going to play with. Yeah.
Well, there was definitely a lot of people playing with each other and themselves in the show, too. I don't know. We're live. Sorry.
That's okay. It made an impression on you.
It did. Yeah. But so did the slaughtering of people and the cannibalistic killing. So, reminded me of like that movie Ravenous. Did you ever see that?
No. What I'm going to say is that I did get more sucked into the show as it went on. I just hope that they haven't already, like I said, blown their wad and like we get to see some things that surprise us. Yeah. Because right now I'm a little bit like I can see completely what's going to happen in the mountains, and I hope it's like not as predictable as I think it's going to be.
Do you happen to know how many episodes are on?
No, I don't.
Okay.
We can look that up.
There's probably like 10 or something. Mm-hmm. That's kind of standard for this type of show. Yeah. Well, guys, that's pretty much it for tonight. Thank you for watching with us. We'd love to know what you guys think of the show and what you predict is going to happen with all the various characters. So, you know what? If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. And we will see you guys next Sunday around 11 Standard Time.
That's when we get around to watching.
Yeah, we have kids. All right, y'all.